Hello everybody and welcome to this week's video. This should be a nice quick one because it is just my August wrap up and I read 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 books this month. That is crazy. August is always a pretty good reading month for me just because it's like obviously summertime and I love a good beach day. So, and obviously I did a 24-hour readathon. So that definitely bumped up my numbers because I think most of the books were read in that. So I will mention when we've got out of that section because that was the first thing I did this month, and you can go check that out if you want to see me read these books, and I will attempt to give my ratings in this video, but I don't remember what I gave most of them, so I would take this video's rating as the more accurate one because I've sat with these books, and if I don't remember what I thought of them the first time I read it, then I think that speaks for itself. So let's crack on. The first book I read this month was Strictly the Worst by Carrie Elks. This is book 5 in the Salinger Brothers series. I really enjoy this and I haven't seen anyone talk about this. I can't remember how I found the series to start with, but it is on Kindle Unlimited if you would enjoy that. This is a co-workers to lovers, which I love because that is the trope that I lived out in reality. My boyfriend and I were co-workers. We are no longer because it is a conflict of interest, but I like that one. It has a little place in my heart. That and Age Gap, my favourites. So, Link and Tessa. I forgot her name in the video, so I think her name's Tessa. I remember her daughter's name. Her daughter is called Zoe. So, they end up going on a company trip to go to a business meeting together, and obviously forced proximity based on the whole trip, and it was just really like, it was a fun time. It's a quick read. I think it is just over 300 pages, so a quick read, obviously a series and an author that I already know I like, so this was a tried and true format for me. I did end up giving it a 3-star just because compared to other books in the series I have enjoyed them more. I think the 4th one I really did enjoy, so obviously this being the 5th, a follow-up on that was just a step down for me, but I still recommend it, still really enjoy it. Obviously 3 is not a bad rating, but take it as you will. I did enjoy this and I do recommend it. Strictly the Worst. Then I read When in Rome by Sarah Adams, which is my first Sarah Adams book ever, and I did really enjoy them. Oh, my books have fallen over. I did really enjoy this. I, upon looking back, think it has the plot of Cars, but I love cars, so win-win. This one follows Amelia and Noah. I'm really bad with names, so I will be checking the backs. And Amelia is a pop star whose car breaks down outside of Noah's house in Rome, Kentucky, which is where she was headed, which is lucky. And she ends up living with him briefly just because she doesn't have anywhere to go, and makes friends with his sisters, and it's just really cute and a fun time. So I do really recommend this one. It was a 4-star for me, I believe, and I'm sticking with that. This was a 4-star for me. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Highly recommend. And I did go on to read another Sarah Adams book. I can't think when I read it, but I did read another one, so maybe I'm a Sarah Adams stan now. We'll have to try a 3rd one and see. Then I read another tried and true author for me, The Heartbreak Rule by Stephanie Archer. This is definitely my least favourite Stephanie Archer book that I've read because all of the other books I've read from her are a 5 or a 4-star, and this one was a 3. This follows Gemma and Reed. See, I can only get half the names right. I'm doing well though. This follows Gemma and Reed. Gemma is a stand-up comedian, and I think Reed maybe owns the building that she performs in or something, I think, and they don't get along. He calls her Ice Queen. She calls him something really mean and I can't remember what it is now, but they don't get along, and obviously throughout the course of the story they do get along. I don't remember much about it, so maybe I'll knock this down to like a 2.75 because I don't remember what happens. But yeah, Stephanie Archer is always going to be one of my faves. I've read Behind the Net, The Fake Out, and then the first 2 books of her other series, which I conveniently can't... Oh, Queen's Cove series. I've read the first 2 of that as well, and I have thoroughly enjoyed all of them. this just seems to be an anomaly, and I think this was maybe her first book, which is why it's come in like the indie published version. But oh well. Also, I love the cover of this. It's such a nice colour. It's just a shame I didn't love the story. Then I read Practice Makes Perfect, again by Sarah Adams. This one follows Will and Annie. Yep, Will and Annie. She is a florist and he is Amelia from When in Rome's bodyguard. And this is like a teaching her how to date story, which usually not a fan, but this, I ate it up. It was so cute. So I don't know what else to say. I think I gave this a 4-star as well. This is very on par with When in Rome for me. I think I preferred this one more just because of the tropes. So, but it's so cute. And the cover again is so pretty. I'm very much swayed by covers on books when I buy them, so yay. Then I read The Wrong Mr. Right by Stephanie Archer. This is book 2 in the Queen's Cove series, and again this is sort of like another teaching her how to date trope, but not quite. She's basically going on a little journey of becoming a hot girl, and she gets, what is his name? Wyatt, to teach her how to be a hot girl, and he is a surfer, as you can see from the cover. It was just really cute. It was a cute fun time. I think this one was a 4, but maybe a 3.5 would be a more accurate rating, because I definitely preferred other books to this. Now looking back on it, I don't really remember too much of the actual plot and stuff. I know she ends up standing outside of her own bookshop. Oh, she has a bookshop. That's a key element to the story. She has a bookshop. She ends up standing outside of her bookshop with him and just asking random people on dates to like get to the quota that he's told her to get to. But it's a cute fun time. Again, I love Stephanie Archer, so I'm going to recommend all of her books. Then I did a reread of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Do I need to say anything? This was obviously a 5-star for me. This is one of my favourites in the series, which I recently found out is a controversial opinion. Like, loads of people hate this one, and I just don't get it. I think it's really funny. I think Gilderoy Lockhart is hilarious. He's awful, but hilarious. Ron is just so astute in this book. He knows everything going on. He just has a gut instinct about these things. So I loved it. Highly recommend Harry Potter if you haven't read it somehow. I feel like everyone's read it by this point, but if you haven't, please read it and please tell me what you think, because I am always going to be obsessed. Obviously I do not condone the behaviours of the author, but separating the art from the artist, I love Harry Potter with my entire being. Then I did another reread. I read Girls in Love by Jacqueline Wilson, which is very random. It is, I think, a kid's book or like a teenage book, but it was on offer in the works. I've now got all 4 of the books in this series, and she's coming out with like an adult version of it, like the characters now, which is why I thought I'd reread it. This follows Ellie in year 9. That's how far back we're going, year 9, with her 2 best friends, Nadine, I think, and Magda, or Nadia and Magda, something like that. This was just a quick, easy time. I cannot believe how risky this book got, given the fact I read it when I was in like year 6. I was like 10 reading this, but you know, it was a fun time. This I think I gave a 3, just because obviously my reading taste now is obviously not what this is, the target audience for this is, but you know, it's a good fun time. Then I read You With a View by Jessica Joyce, which was an absolute diamond in the rough. That's harsh to say about the other books, but this was so cute. This follows Noelle and someone, Theo, Noelle and Theo, on a road trip that was basically meant to be the honeymoon of their grandparents. So her grandma and his grandfather had like a secret love affair back in the day, and Noelle goes viral on TikTok asking if anyone knows who this man is, and Theo goes, "That's my granddad, let's meet up," and the rest is history. This was so cute. This was, I don't tend to read road trip stories much because my geographical knowledge is not, it's not it, so I struggle with the whole like actually figuring out where they're going, but this was stunning. I gave it a 5-star. Please read it, especially whilst it's still a little bit summery out, because I know we're heading into September. but this was gorgeous. Then I read a literary fiction translated from, I think this one's translated from Korean, yeah, runaway Korean sensation, Welcome to the Hyunam-dong Bookshop. And this was a bit dull for my taste. I think it's just because it's a bit more like slice of lifey. There isn't really too much plot going on, but it was a good refresher, and I'm definitely going to read more translated lit fic. Like, I want to read literary fiction more. I feel like I need to evolve my reading taste. So this was okay. I think I gave this a 3-star, which again, probably more accurately would be like a 2.75, just because I probably won't pick it up again. But if this is your thing, check it out. Then I read The X-Files by Jessica Joyce, hot off the heels of finishing You With a View. And I love this as well. This one only got a 4 for me. This one, I think the beginning was a bit slower than I liked it. But it is basically about Georgia and Eli fixing their best friend's wedding. Like, everything is going wrong at their best friend's wedding. And they've got like a few days to sort it all out. And obviously it all comes together. And they have a history. This is second chance romance. They have dated before, broken up, ended badly. And now they're forced to get along. I don't know if this would count as forced proximity because they're not living together, but where they have to go to all of these like wedding-y things together. They obviously are spending all the time together and being forced to be around each other and play nice in front of their friends. So 4 stars. I did enjoy this, but I enjoyed You With a View more. Then another surprise, I read Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. 5 stars. 5 stars. This book is my favourite book that I read this month, maybe other than Harry Potter, but that is a different case because obviously I've read that before. But this was amazing. This was an accidental pregnancy trope, which I've said before I love. It's not for everyone, but I eat this up every time. This is about Win and Bo, who is an absolute cutie, may I add. And it was just so gorgeous. They hook up at a Halloween party. A few weeks later, she obviously finds out she's pregnant. And he jumps right in. He's all for it. He's a happy little bunny to come and father this child with her if that's what she wants. And it's so cute. I just loved it so much. And he's a complete dork. He loves D&D. It's just adorable. And there's a lot of... I don't know if disability rep is the word that I'm looking for, but he's an amputee. You can see on the cover he's got a false leg. She's got, I don't know what it's actually called, but she's got like a smaller hand, which I think the author maybe has as well, because it's like she says a lot that she pours herself into Win as a character. So maybe I need to do some more research into that because I don't know much about it other than that. But this was adorable. Please read it. I love this, and I'm definitely excited to check out the rest of Hannah Bonham Young's works. I've got another 2 of her books here, and then I think she's releasing one maybe next year. It might be next year. I don't know if I can wait that long. But yes, thoroughly enjoyed this. 5-star. Please read it. Then I read a bit of a letdown, a novel love story by Ashley Poston. I have read The 7 Year Slip and loved it, and I read The Dead Romantics and loved it even more. So I had very high expectations for this one, which I think a lot of people did, and much like a lot of other people, this just didn't hit the mark for me. It's cute and it is a quirky, fun idea, but it just wasn't for me. There were too many characters going on. So basically what happens in this is Eileen loves a certain book series, and she goes to go on a cabin retreat by herself, and her car breaks down, I think. She gets caught in a storm and her car breaks down, and she realizes that she is actually in the fictional town that her favorite book is set in. And obviously, like, she's trying not to, I think they call it create ripples, so not change the story or change anything basically, which is interesting, but I just think it wasn't executed as well as it could have been, and based on the other stories that Ashley Poston has written, this just wasn't a favourite. I gave this a 3 stars. It is a higher end 3-star because I still think the writing style is gorgeous. It's just the actual plot I struggled with for this one. Then in my most recent video, I was just reading random books that I'd bought recently to try and get them straight off my TBR so they didn't sit on my shelf. I got halfway into Viral by Helen Fitzgerald and I DNF'd it. at just over halfway, I think. So I count this as a read book because I got like over 100 pages in. That's what my qualifier is if it goes towards my reading goal or not. But yeah, this one just wasn't for me. It switched between third and first person a lot, which was just jarring to my brain. It didn't like that, so I did have to DNF it. This follows Sue, who is an 18-year-old that goes on holiday to, I believe it's Magaluf. Yeah, Magaluf, and gets recorded doing sexual acts on strangers, and it goes extremely viral and obviously ruins her life. Basically, it destroys everything, everyone. That's all she's known for. She can't escape it, and so she runs away. And this, I thought, would more follow her and the psychological torment that a video like that going viral would cause, and instead it tended to follow her mum, who works in the law. I can't think what she does. She's like a lawyer or something like that, or a judge. She might be a judge, I think. And like trying to get the video offline and stop everything that's happening, and obviously find a daughter. But it just, yeah, it wasn't for me. I found it quite boring. So let me know if you've finished this and if it gets any better, and maybe I'll pick it up and finish it at some point, but this just wasn't for me. Then I read Fair Rosaline by Natasha Solomons, which is a Romeo and Juliet retelling / backstory following Rosaline as she gets courted by Romeo and dropped for Juliet. I did enjoy this. I gave it 3 just because there were bits of it, like the final 150 pages I found quite boring. But I did enjoy it. I don't tend to read Shakespearean works often. Like, I haven't read Romeo and Juliet since I was in school. But this was written with that same sort of whimsical writing style as any Shakespeare work would have. And I think it was great. Obviously, Rosaline isn't much of a character in the original play, so she was given free rein to do that. And I believe she like pulled from a few different Shakespearean works to get the character of Rosaline, which I think is great. That's such a creative way to come about this, and like obviously pay homage to Shakespeare himself. So, but I enjoyed this. Obviously, well, not obviously, I don't know if everyone shares this opinion. I think Romeo's the villain of the original story. I hate him, and he's very much the villain of this one, so that worked very well for me. I think I'll give this a 3.5 overall, like being more specific, but it's a 3 on Goodreads. And I did annotate it. You might be able to see a few lines, maybe, or not actually. But like, you know, I annotated bits and bobs in it. It was a good time. I recommend it. And I got it from the works, and it was only £3. What a bargain. So if you're a UK girly, pick it up. Then I read The Breakup Pact by Emma Lord. This was the last book I read this month, and this was just a stunningly good time. I had this was such, I don't know, this was what I needed. This is what my brain was just happy to read. So The Breakup Pact follows, I've just read this, what the fuck are their names? June and Levi, after their separate breakups go viral. So Levi is dating like a public figure. I can't remember what his ex-girlfriend does, but she's quite like famous, I think. And he gets cheated on, which is pretty horrific in itself. And June gets, I think, broken up with privately, and then her boyfriend becomes the star of a reality TV show that he then brings her on for, to basically parade his new relationship in front of her, and she rightfully has a complete meltdown, and it goes viral, and she gets known as Crying Girl. And so this follows them fake dating to get back at their exes. They get deemed the revenge exes, and it is basically done to boost the sales of June's cafe that she runs, and to try and make Levi's ex-girlfriend want him back, which is a terrible idea in reality, but makes for great reading. So I do highly recommend this. It's like a childhood friends to lovers, but they're more like friends as teenagers, so I don't know if that still counts, but I loved this. It was so cute. I gave it a 4.5. Like, this is still pretty fresh. I finished this about an hour ago, but I'm giving it a 4.5. I said in the reading vlog I did for this that it could go up to a 5 if I don't stop thinking about it, because at the moment it is all that is on my mind. So this might become a 5-star, but for now it is a 4.5 and a very good way to end the month. So that was all the books I read. I think it was actually, what did I say at the start, 15? Might be 14 books, because there was one in the pile that I didn't finish. This is the book that I'm like 2 chapters into. I'm 16 pages in and I just haven't been asked to pick it up again. So hopefully you'll see me finish this at some point. It should end up in my September wrap up, if anything else. But those are all the books that I read in August. Let me know what your favourite book you read this month was, and I will see you in next week's video.